I am on the side of life.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about episode 7 of WandaVision. And this was another pretty good episode. And now we're in the modern day sitcoms too, which is kind of cool. So just like all the other reviews, I'm going to start off without spoilers, and then I'm going to get into some spoilers. Not a lot to talk about without spoilers, but I'll try. So, I guess we could just get started. So, this was another pretty epic episode, and it had some really big reveals. It also, if you haven't seen the episode yet, it does have an end credit scene, so make sure you stick around through the credits, or skip through the credits, since it is on Disney+, because there is an end credit scene this time around. And it's the first episode to have an end credit scene for now. But I think there's only like 2 episodes left. They might have a end credit scene, but maybe not. I think they will though. At least the last one. So yeah, I don't really know how else to talk about the show without spoiling it. So we're probably just gonna get into spoilers right away. I think we only talked for a couple of seconds without spoilers, but overall it was pretty good. I can't wait to see what happens next, and stick around because there is an end credit scene. And now I think we're gonna talk about some spoilers. So spoiler alert: if you haven't seen this episode, click away and come back when you have seen it. I'll give you 3 more seconds to click away. Now let's talk about some spoilers. So, let's start with the intro first, because in the intro like flashes the word Wanda in many different kinds of signs and different things like that. And one of the things it shows is, one of the things says, "I know what you're doing, Wanda. What you are doing, Wanda." That's kind of creepy. And I wonder if that was just there to be like an Easter egg, or if that might have a meaning later on in the show. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I guess we'll have to watch and find out. Now moving on to the rest of the episode. It also seems like Wanda doesn't have as much control over the Hex as she used to, because things are constantly changing around her. It didn't tell us why. I think it's because in the last episode she expanded the Hex, and I think now it's way bigger than it was supposed to be, making it a lot harder to control. So I think that might be why she's having a tougher time controlling it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's why, because almost everything is changing. A billion times, game remotes were changing, the milk, even the TV, the couch, and all that, and the stairs and all that stuff were changing around them. So, and that's kind of weird. Also, it seems like Billy can't quite control his powers, because in the beginning of the episode, when they're trying to talk to Wanda, Billy says, he's not Wiccan yet. I almost said Wiccan, he's not Wiccan yet. Billy says, "It's noisy, like, in my head." And I think that's because he can read. He's reading so many minds at, like, the same time, and he can't control it. So I think that might be why he said that, because he can't really control it, especially since he, like, just got his powers not too long ago. Also, later on in the episode, he mentions it again, but we'll get to that later. Moving on, outside the Hex, Hayward is talking about launching something. We don't know what. I think it's gonna be like a missile or something to try to like blow up the Hex, but he's definitely planning something. I think it's gonna be some kind of attack. I'm not sure what kind of attack. I think a bomb attack, but like a missile attack or something. But we don't know, but he's definitely up to something, and I don't think it's gonna be very good. Also, back in the Hex, they mentioned Pedro, because he's nowhere. I probably shouldn't say that, because he's in the cutscene. But for the most of the episode, he's nowhere to be seen. So he kind of like just disappears from the last episode. But they do mention him because Billy asked what Uncle P meant by re-killing Dad. And Wanda's just like, don't believe anything that man told you, he's not your uncle. Which kind of confirms what my theory's been, and that is, it's not Pietro. Well, kinda. So, also, it seems like Agnes was really eager to take the kids whenever she insisted Wanda needed some alone time. She like jumped at it, like she's like, oh, I'll take them, like really fast. So obviously she's playing something with the kids, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And even in the interview, she says she bit a kid once, which is kind of creepy because she goes, whenever they're going with her, she's like, oh, don't worry, I don't bite. And then in every interview she goes, I actually did bite a kid once. Yeah, that's not weird at all, Agnes. Also, during an interview with Wanda, she keeps saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. Which, almost in every movie and show, whenever they constantly say they're fine, it means they're not fine, so... Also, again, another person repeating something in the Hex. Agnes repeating dead, dead, dead over and over again in the Halloween episode. And then in the first episode, Mrs. Hart saying, stop it, stop it, stop it over and over again. So... I don't know. People just like repeating things in the Hex for some reason. Unless there's a reason to it, which we'll learn about later. Anyway, we also find out that Hayward, his plan was to bring Vision back to life, but to use him as a weapon. Which isn't what Vision wants. He doesn't want to be a weapon, but that's what Hayward's planning to bring him back as. We also find out that Monica's contact that they've been teasing for the last couple episodes is Major Goodner, which is kind of disappointing because I know me and a lot of other people were expecting it to be someone big or someone important. Maybe this isn't her contact, it's just someone who works with her contact. But I think it could be Talos's daughter from Captain Marvel, because if you remember, Talos's daughter and Monica Rambeau seemed to get along when they were kids in Captain Marvel. They seemed to get along. So maybe they stayed friends that entire time, and that's her just disguising herself. No, he didn't. He's right here. Of course I can catch him. He's like right here.
You're a lifesaver. This bag has all the skeleton keys for the raft in it.
Anyway, moving on. Darcy is now in the Hex because in the last episode we saw that she got sucked into it. So we see that she became an escape artist for the circus, which is kind of funny because when she was sucked into the Hex, she was handcuffed to the car to try to keep her from going anywhere in the last episode. So when she was sucked in, she became an escape artist, which was kind of funny. And Vision uses his fingers. I don't know what that is. I called it magic fingers because I can. He uses that and he snaps her out of it and she remembers who she was. And what's funny is that she said she kind of wanted a guest role on WandaVision, but now she's kind of regretting it. She did not like it. Also, it seems like Vision knew that Pietro was an imposter because while they're in the car, Vision, one of his questions is, who is that imposter Pietro? And Darcy's like, I don't know. So, I don't know, maybe he just knew because of how he was acting? I don't know, but apparently, I guess he knew that he was an imposter. Also, during an interview that Wanda's having, the person behind the camera actually talks and says, do you think this is what you deserve? And Wanda's like, you're not supposed to talk. So, that was kind of weird, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. but this truck isn't even moving. So, yeah, and well, she is doing most of the stuff in the hex, not all of it, which we will learn later on. And my theory was that it's not completely her; someone else has their hand in it. But we'll talk more about that later, because if you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the commercial here has a lot to talk about, so I'll try to get through it all. So it's a commercial about an anti-depression drug called Nexus, which I guess is a bunch of superpowered people, and Wanda's one of them. I don't know too much about the Nexus. It's also, I remember in Fortnite Season 4, it was a Marvel season, and it was called Nexus War. So that was kind of cool too. And it says it brings you back to reality, or the reality you choose, which is interesting because right now we're in the reality Wanda chooses, not reality itself. And it also said that side effects include feeling your feelings, confronting your truth, seizing your destiny, and possibly more depression. Huh. Kind of seems like if Wanda were to go back to the real world. Just saying. And then and then it also says, do not take unless doctor says you are clear to move on with your life. Okay. And then at the end, it says Nexus, because the world doesn't revolve around you. Or does it? Because the world doesn't revolve around Wanda, but in the Hex, it does. So that was a very interesting commercial. And I don't know what all of it means. I know what most of it means. Like, it definitely seems to be talking about the Hex and this fake reality, and how Wanda needs to snap out of it and go back to the real world, even though she doesn't want to. Also, Billy says that he likes it at Agnes's house because it's quiet. And that Agnes is quiet on the inside. And the reason why he says that is because it doesn't seem he can control his powers. He's constantly reading everyone's mind, and it's incredibly noisy. But he can't read Agnes's mind or Agnes's rabbit's mind. Which, I know some theories is that the rabbit is more than a rabbit, and if that turns out to be true, that might be teasing at the fact that it's more than just a rabbit. Like some people are saying that it might be a Professor in disguise or something like that. Or maybe it's just a normal rabbit, who knows. But he likes it because it's quiet. Also, Monica, back outside the Hex, she's trying to get into their Hex, and they built this big truck type thing. They try to drive into the Hex, but it doesn't work. It transforms half of it and then blasts it away. So Monica decides, well, that didn't work, I'm just gonna run through it. And that's exactly what she does. She runs through the Hex, and she makes it inside, and this is when she gets her powers and becomes Spectrum. She gets her powers because going in and out of the Hex too much altered her DNA, and now she can like see energy, I believe is what that power was, when everything looked like a purplish color. And now she has the powers like in the superhero. So I also believe in the comics she has two superhero names that she goes by, Spectrum and Photon. I wonder what she'll go by in the show. I know I've heard that some people think that she'll be Spectrum mostly, but who knows. Also, Darcy tells Vision about what happened in the past MCU movies. Like, she pretty much explains to him his character arc in the MCU. Explains how he used to be, he's partly Jarvis, and that he came to, Ultron wanted to create him to be evil, but the Avengers got to him and brought him to life and making him a good guy. how he fought in the Civil War, how him and Wanda went into hiding and fell in love, and how she had to kill him by blowing up the Mind Stone so Thanos couldn't get it, but Thanos rewind time, ripped out the Infinity Stone, and killed him again anyway. And then she also explains how Wanda stole his body, and now somehow he's in the Hex, even though we have no idea how he's in the Hex. So, and then it's kind of funny because he's like, so Wanda killed me. Well, yeah, but she did it because that way a psychopath didn't kill half the world. And Vision's like, oh, did it work? Kinda. He did rewind time and kill you again anyway, and she had to watch, but 5 years after that, the Avengers brought people back. And then also, they say Wanda's been trying to keep Vision away because we don't really know why, but I think it's because, well, now Vision knows the truth and she doesn't want to have to confront that. But I have another theory. Are we sure it's Wanda trying to keep Vision and Darcy away? Because as the end of the episode shows, Wanda is not the only one in control. Maybe it's her trying to keep Vision and Darcy away, not Wanda. But we don't know. Maybe it was Wanda. But maybe not. And then later on, when Monica makes it to Wanda's house, Wanda gets mad at Monica, uses her powers to push her out of the house. And then Dottie and the mailman are watching this as it's going on, and they can see that they're not very happy with each other. And they're just standing there watching, which was kind of weird.
Over here.
And then Monica does a superhero landing, which was pretty cool, but it shocked Wanda, and you can tell, because if you look at her face, you can definitely tell she was not expecting her to have that awesome superhero landing. And then Monica's like, oh, you want to take me out? Go ahead, do it. But Scarlet Witch doesn't, or Wanda does. She's not technically called Scarlet Witch yet. Wanda doesn't. And then it seems like Wanda is starting to talk to her, and she says, don't let them make it look like you're the bad guy. But Wanda says, maybe I already am, which might be true. Maybe she will be the villain of Doctor Strange 2, like people are saying. Or maybe not. I don't know. I think she definitely might have a somewhat of a character arc where she turns back into a villain. She might turn back to a good guy, but I think she will dip into the evil side of things, especially if they're going with this House of M thing. Then she might go crazy and reset the world, but who knows? Well, Kevin Feige knows, but that's it. And then Monica seems to start getting to Wanda, but Agnes interrupts and takes Wanda away. And as they're walking away, Wanda turns to Monica and says, don't make me hurt you. So it seems like Wanda definitely doesn't really want to fight or kill anyone, but she definitely doesn't seem afraid to do it if it's necessary, because she wants to stay in this world. At least that's what it seems like to me. And then Vision, in the middle of an interview, realizes that it's weird, and he leaves in the middle of it, because he's talking to the camera about how he can't believe Wanda's been lying to him. And then he's like, wait a second, what am I doing here? He takes the little microphone that off of his chest, and he's like, why am I here? And he starts flying away from the interview. And then, when Agnes takes Wanda into her house, Billy and Tommy are missing. We have no idea where they are. Agnes says maybe they're playing in the basement. They're probably playing in the basement. So Wanda goes down to look for them, and her basement is creepy. Like, it looks like a supervillain lair or dungeon or something. And then the camera also, I think it's called, I forget what it's called, but the way the camera looks, it changes from like a full screen to like that cinematic look where there's like the black bars on the top and bottom, to show that this is kind of out of the hex, because every time we're out of the hex, it has that look with the black bars on top and bottom. But whenever we're in the hex, it looks different to fit the sitcom. So this is not in the hex, at least it doesn't seem like it. And the camera also focuses on a glowing book. I don't know too much about this, but of what I've heard, people think that this is going to be the Darkhold, some sort of magical books from dark magic book from the comics. I don't know too much about that, but maybe. And then we find out who's been messing up things all along. It's been Agatha all along. And that's when we find out that Agnes is actually the witch, Agatha Hartley. Oh my gosh, my mind is blown. I cannot believe that happened. Wow, what a surprise. That blew my mind so... No, I'm just kidding. I saw that coming. I'm pretty sure everyone who has YouTube or is a comic book fan saw it coming. So, not really a surprise, but still kind of cool the way they did it. And also the fact that it is true. So now we don't have to speculate. You know, it's still not surprised at all. It's official now. Agnes is Agatha Hartley. And she seems to put Wanda in like this trance or something because she like uses her powers. And now Wanda's head and her eyes are purple like her magic. And then in this Agatha all along flashback, we find out what all she's done. She messed up the talent show. She messed with Herb. She sent Petro. So now we know that Petro is not a good guy, or is he? I'll talk about that in a little bit. We also found out that she was acting when she met Vision during Halloween. We also see that she was the person behind the camera doing the interview, and most despicable of all, she killed Sparky too. How dare she? Unless, of course, it follows the comic books and he comes back to life. But still, how dare she? So she did all that. So, yeah. So it also, like I was talking about earlier, she was the person behind the camera. So the person who was talking when she goes, "Do you feel like you deserve this?" That had to have been Agatha then, speaking from behind the camera. Even though the voice did sound deeper than hers, I heard that they just like used special effects to like lower Catherine Hahn's voice, so it was technically Agatha, just her voice was lowered to try to keep her disguise, because she kind of is the director of the sitcom.
Probably get this a lot.
Also, I'm still very curious as to who Petro is, because yes, he's working with Agnes, but it looks like it might be mind control, maybe, because when we see the flashback to the episodes, we see that there's like a purple glow on him whenever he knocked on the door and Agatha's having a picnic outside their house. So that may look like she was controlling him, but in the end credit scene, it didn't seem like she was controlling him. It seemed like he was just in his own free will. So I still have no idea who Petro is. This kind of explains that he was not a good guy, but it still doesn't mean he's not the Fox X-Men universe. I'm not so positive that he is. Even though it showed that she was controlling him, there's still so many possibilities. He could be from the Fox X-Men universe, just she's mind controlling him. She could have brought back to life the MCU version and is mind controlling him. This could be Mephisto in disguise, but I don't see why she would need to mind control him if that's true. Or he could be just a random goon. Just a random henchman or something like that. And then also, in the end credit scene, we see Monica finds her house, opens up the basement doors, and sees like these purple vine type things leading into the basement. And then and then Petro shows up out of nowhere and says, "Snooper's gonna snoop," and then it ends right there. So I'm assuming Monica is getting captured. I would say it's possible that she's getting killed, but you know, she's getting Captain Marvel too, so obviously she won't. She's not dead. There we go.
If we keep working this well together, maybe Fury will finally let me have that fish tank.
You know, it's a hard look to.
So, yeah, so many questions about, still so many questions about who Pedro is. And I cannot wait. There's only 2 more episodes left. I bet we're gonna have it. I bet the finale is gonna be so epic. I'm really excited for the finale. I mean, the next episode I'm also excited for, but the finale is usually the like big climax of a show season. I also wonder if this will be a 1 season thing or if it will get another season. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, as a whole, overall, this episode was pretty epic. It revealed a lot. Apparently, it's been Agatha all along, even though that wasn't really a surprise. But still pretty cool how they confirmed it. So yeah, what do you guys think? Did you love this episode? Did you hate this episode? Did you see it coming when they revealed that she was Agatha, or were you one of the few people who was actually surprised when it was revealed she was the bad guy? Because I know there are probably some people who were surprised, because there are some people who aren't comic book fans and who might stay off YouTube because of spoilers. Even though people are always theorizing on YouTube. So, did it surprise you, or did you see it coming? And what did you think of the episode as a whole? Love it? Hate it? If you like this video, please hit like. And if you want to see more videos from this, I've reviewed all the previous WandaVision episodes, so you can go ahead and check those out if you want. And I've also done lots of gameplay videos for like Fortnite, like I mentioned before, as well as Marvel's Avengers, and even Marvel's Spider-Man. I'm hoping to do more. I'm also hoping to do some more reviews for like Black Widow and Falcon Winter Soldier, and so on. So please, if you want to see any of that, please consider hitting subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I post and go live. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and hoping to see you guys in the next video. I'll see you later. Bye.